What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode. So if you guys did see the last video, I basically left off with getting the engine in the car and rebuilding my transmission and all that good stuff. So now that the engine is in the car, I can start taking care of all of the little details or the little things that I need to actually get the car or get the engine started. So this weekend, the main thing that I'm focusing on is getting my AN hoses made. So I'm getting my fuel lines made, my catch can lines, and my oil filter relocation lines made. And then I need to get started on the wiring. But I might save the wiring for the next video just because I think wiring is going to be really involved, and I think if I do wiring, it's going to be a really long video. So I'm just going to save that for its own video. And for those of you guys who are asking about the ITBs on my engine and all that stuff, I am going to make a separate video just on the ITBs, getting that set up. And so once I take my engine to go get tuned and everything like that, that's when I'm going to start going over way more details with the ITBs, just because at this point I still don't really know much about them. I haven't done anything with them besides looked at them and installed them. So that's it. So once I find out more, I'm definitely going to get a video going to explain all that stuff for those of you guys who are interested in running some of those. So I'm just going to go ahead and get cracking on these lines, get these busted out, and then from there, just all the other little small things that I need to get done. Alright guys, so I'm just getting back to you guys with an update here. So as far as my fuel system, I kind of have already like mapped out how I want it to go, and kind of came up with everything that I need to order and stuff. So here's just like a quick little drawing, just like a little scribble basically. So this is kind of it. So basically the feed starts off down there, kind of like behind the steering column, and basically it's just gonna start off with a 45-degree fitting, and that's gonna kind of go along the back of the frame rail right there. And if you can see right here, I have a K-tuned fuel filter, and that's just going to connect with a 90-degree, then a 90-degree coming up, and then a 90-degree going to the fuel rail. From there, I'm basically just going to mount my fuel pressure regulator directly on the fuel rail, just using a fitting that will mount that directly on there like this. And from the fuel pressure regulator, it's just a straight fitting going down, and that will go down over there straight to the return line going back to the fuel tank. So that's how that's kind of laid out. And then as far as the oil filter relocation, I kind of have decided on a location for that, and that's basically just going to be mounted something like this. So as you can kind of see, it goes straight through that hole where the air dryer used to be, and basically I'll be able to reach the oil filter directly from the bottom under that wheel well, so I won't have to be going under the car and getting everything dirty anytime I change my oil. So that's really cool there. Alright guys, so just another update here. I haven't really made any sort of progress as far as like getting anything done here. So I think this is where I'm going to leave off for today. I obviously really didn't get much done. It's pretty much still in the same place that it was. But now I actually have a really big list of things that I need to order and need to get in before I can't even get this finished. So I'm going to get those things ordered, then I could get started on building all of these lines and getting this thing ready to start. So other than that, I will get back to you guys once I get all of my parts in. So I just got the fuel rail taken off of the ITBs, and basically what I'm working on right now is trying to strip off all of the blue anodizing off of these. I know the engine looks pretty cool with that like blue like accent color, but that's not the accent color I'm really going for. I really didn't want blue, so it's just kind of like a coincidence that this happened to be blue along with the blue Gates Racing timing belt. So with this, I want to try to get it down to like the aluminum color. If not the aluminum color, I might actually paint it black, just to kind of match with the rest of my fuel system, because all the rest of my fuel lines are all black, like AN fittings, and I do have the black nylon AN hose. So yeah, so right now what I'm going to do to kind of like strip off all the anodizing off of this, I'm just going to use some oven cleaner. So yeah, so I'm just going to spray all of this stuff. I'm just going to kind of soak it in there, and I'll just leave it in there for like 10 minutes to start off with, and I'm probably going to use the brush just to kind of brush it off and kind of help out with getting that anodizing off, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. Alright, so I just went ahead and sprayed that all down. I'm just going to leave that soaking in there right now. I did try to kind of turn each one of these things over just a little bit to kind of get the oven cleaner on all sides of it. But yeah, I'm just going to leave this here for about 10 minutes, and then I'll come back and then kind of see where it's at, see if it's like coming off or if I'm going to need to like brush it around a little bit. But yeah, get back to you guys in 10 minutes. Alright, and here's the fuel rail right now, so kind of see it's looking pretty nice. Yeah, so I basically, after I got it out of there, it kind of looks really weird, and it kind of has a bunch of these like weird spots, and you can see that the aluminum kind of has this like weird like chemical reaction type of thing. And yeah, it's basically just because the oven cleaner is like basically just eating away at the metal almost. It like slightly eats away at the metal a little bit. So from there, once I take it out of the oven cleaner, then I basically just grab it and then get like a little Scotch-Brite or scuff pad, and you can just kind of wipe it down. And you wipe it, and then it looks brand new. So that's how it looked before or right after you take it out, and then scuff pad and wipe it down. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm just going to get everything else to look like the fuel rail, and then we'll get that back on there just to kind of see what it looks like. Silver, and if I don't like it silver, then we'll go black. Alright, and there it is, bolted up to the actual ITBs right there, and yeah, honestly I like the way that looks. So I think I actually might keep it silver, but yeah, that is a lot of silver going on right there. I'll have to wait once I get all the fuel lines connected on there, kind of see how it looks with the fuel lines. And yeah, I'll probably decide from there, because I can always take that fuel rail off and paint it afterward. It's not even a big deal. Alright guys, so I just got all of the AN hose cut to length. So these right here are my fuel lines, and then I got the fittings kind of put in place on this line right here that goes from the fuel rail to the fuel filter. So that's kind of in place. I just need to go through and fully tighten all of these down, and these lines will be all good to go. Alright guys, so for right now I'm basically just going to be showing you guys me building the fuel lines. So I did already build one, and I did get the other two lines cut to the length that I want them. And if you guys notice, you can see masking tape at the end of these, and basically that's just to kind of help out with kind of like getting the exact measurement, and also it's going to help out when it comes time to actually getting the hose ends onto these hoses. So it does help out like whenever you cut it. So I actually did cut these with the cutoff wheel. It actually helps keep the AN hose from fraying. So each hose end is basically made up of two pieces. So you have like the collar, and you have the actual like fitting. So this right here actually has to go on the hose and has to be pressed in. And if you look in there, there's actually going to be like a spot where it seats up against. And on these fittings, these are XRP fittings. So on these fittings, they actually have like a little line exactly right where it would end. So whenever it comes time to measuring, you can actually get it exact, because that's where it'll always seat up against. So that's cool about the XRP fittings. I don't think all fittings have that, but yeah. So when it comes time to like putting this sleeve on there, it's really, really difficult if you have these ends like frayed off a little bit. So yeah, so you do want to kind of try to get it in there, like work it around, you know, just work it on there. And then once you kind of have it in there, it's really hard, but you want to push it in as much as you can, like as hard as you can. And then what's actually cool is in the inside of these sleeves, they're actually reverse threaded. So while you're pushing it, you want to like loosen it, you know, like twist it left, and it'll reverse thread itself in there. And the reason for that is so whenever you're tightening this part, which is like the actual ceiling, so if you can tell, there's a threaded, the collar is threaded. So basically what this is doing is this is actually going inside the line, and then since this collar is around it, when you thread this fitting into the collar, it's actually forming a tight seal on there. So that's basically all this is doing. But just know, getting this collar on there is probably like the hardest thing. So what I'm gonna use is, I'm just gonna use the vise. So I did get these like aluminum little jaws for the vise. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the fitting there, and I'm gonna try working it in. And yeah, we'll kind of go from there. I might put a little bit of oil in here just to kind of help out with getting it in there. And another thing, whenever it comes time to getting this little fitting on there, I would definitely recommend putting some oil on this. Alright, so there you go. Both sleeves are on there. Alright, so you guys just saw me get done with the return hose for the fuel system. So basically this is going to be going from the fuel pressure regulator on down underneath the steering column to the factory fuel lines that go under the car. So I just got this one done. So now I just need to work on the two feed lines. So one feed line is going from the factory hard lines under the car to the fuel filter, and then the other one's going from the fuel filter to the fuel rail. So that's this one right here. I just need to tighten the hoses down, and then with this one I need to actually get all the hose ends on. So yeah, let's get to it. Alright, and here you go. I just finished all of the fuel lines. So yeah, it's just basically 3 lines here. These are -6 AN lines. So I have these -10 AN hoses ready to go for my catch can, and then these, oh actually no, I'm sorry, these are for my oil. These lines right here are for my oil filter, and then these right here are for the catch can. So I got all my AN hoses ready to go, and yeah, basically get over to my parents' house now and start mounting those up. Alright, so you guys just saw me get done building all of the AN hoses that I'm going to use for my fuel system and my oil system, all that stuff. So now that I've gotten done with that, I just want to let you know it has been a couple of weeks since I filmed all that stuff. So there has been a lot done on the car. So I will show you guys that right now, and I will show you guys the fuel system fully installed and the oil filter relocation fully installed. But before I show you guys that, I just want to let you know you guys will also see a lot of wiring and a huge mess of wiring. So I do want to let you know I have simultaneously been working on the wiring for the car and everything, with the main goal to test start this thing really soon. But I'm not going to go over anything with the wiring or talk about the wiring in this video. I am going to save that for my next video, and I think the wiring is going to be like a 2-part video because there is a lot going on there. So keep an eye out for my next video. But for this video, I'm just going to show you guys the results for the fuel system and the oil filter relocation. So I'll stop boring you. Let's get over there and check it out. Alright, so here we are, and I'm just going to show you guys the fuel system really quick. So basically, the feed is going to be coming from under the car, obviously. Then you can see that hose that goes across the frame rail. Then right there I have already mounted this K-Tune fuel filter, and then that goes up to the fuel rail. And right here on the fuel rail, you'll see I have some RC injectors. These right here are 440cc injectors. So they should be pretty good for some good power. And then it goes over to the AEM fuel pressure regulator. I have a fuel pressure gauge on there as well. And then boom, the line, you can't really see because of the TPS, but there's a line going down right there. And then that goes, I don't know if you guys can see it, and then that goes down on the right side of the steering column. So the two lines go under to the factory steel hard lines. And yeah, that's the fuel system right there. So really basic, really straightforward. I basically just have the parts that I need for this thing to work, and that's it, you know, just simple. And now it should be really easy to service, as far as like if I ever need to take the ITBs off, all I need to do is just disconnect that line, and boom, that's it. So for the oil lines, you can kind of see them coming out under the motor mount right there. You guys can't really see where they're mounted up on the block, on that sandwich adapter, but if I take the ITBs off at some point today, or if I go under the car today, I'll show you guys that sandwich adapter just so you guys can see it. But the lines, you can see they're kind of coming that way underneath the motor mount to the other side, which is the oil filter side. But yeah, another thing I have done is mounted the oil pressure sensor for the oil pressure gauge, and I do got to mount an oil temp sensor right there for my oil temperature gauge. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the video up here. I hope you guys do like the way the fuel system came out. Definitely in the future I might end up switching out that fuel filter for like an upgraded fuel filter, just a little bit bigger, just because I think I'm gonna have to be replacing the media in that filter really often, but that's not a big deal. Other than that, I'm super stoked on how everything turned out with that fuel system. I love the way those braided AN hoses look. I love the way the fittings look. It looks really like race car, you know. And then I like the way how everything's just like kind of tucked away. So at this point, I really hope everything works, but I'm not gonna be able to test that out for a couple of days now, until I get all of the wiring figured out. So that's what I'm gonna get started on next, is the wiring. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys learned something new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.